Okay, so we're starting on this Mustang bumper here. I've got the kit pre-soaked up there. When you're wetting your bumper, try not to force a bunch of moisture in these areas here because you're going to flush out debris. I've already gone through and used compressed air and forced moisture in there and blown it out and try to clean it out. And I have pre-installed this top piece. So what we're going to do is we're installing a pattern from Eastman with Suntech film. So this top portion has been installed. It has a little seam that starts right there. So we'll go ahead and drop this main piece on here. And I have the luxury of having a big peel board up here instead of using a table like a lot of guys use, and a lift. So if you try to do this with it on the ground, chances are you're going to drop some film on the floor. Hell, it even happens with what we've got going on here. Come back over here, get that down. Now the tough part about these bumpers is there's no designated anchor point. Whoever you're using for your patterns will probably give you a designated anchor point in their program, what the designer or the pattern maker has deemed a good starting point based on their style of installing or their pattern design. So what I'm going to do here is look at this from the center, and we're going to see how it lines up here. Come over here. Take a little bit of my excess from here, and it's not much of a stretch in there, so I'm going to, if it was a lot of stretch I might do it from the center, but I'm going to start right here at this point here and then kind of work my way down. You can also start right here and anchor right here. This may be a better starting point here for us. I think that'll be a better starting point for us. Yeah. Let me grab my stool and my tack solution. And I'm going to start speaking squeegee here. So after I've analyzed this, I'm thinking that this is going to be a good starting point for me here, which in reality is a good starting point. So flush this out a little bit. Get that lined up there. I'm going to do this up to here, like so. And now this will all just kind of feed and run the way I want it. So for now, I'm not going to worry about this over here. I'll leave this all loose. I'm going to focus on this up here. And we've got good alignment up here. And it looks good back through here. So there's going to be a little wrinkle right here. That'll kind of squeegee and stretch out. Like so. Now I can run through this and manipulate this a little bit. And when you're doing a pattern, you need to constantly be checking your edges and making sure everything's still staying aligned. If you're installing something and you misalign this right here and force it, then that's going to affect something down the road over here. What you do here will affect everything down the road that way. I see a little bit of a dry spot there. Get that down there. I want to try to get this little valley right here locked before I start pulling it, so that I'm not putting more tension in this valley, making it harder to set that down. Now if you look right here, this is going to be a little bit of a stretch because the film is right to here and the edge of the bumper is right there, and then this is a flap that goes over in here to protect this leading edge. So I'm going to give it a little stretch. I extended this edge here 1 inch, so I have a lot to play with. I have a lot to grab onto over here. So we'll get this. And then up here I extended it so I can see my little extension right there. So I've got that right there like that. So I've got 1/8 of an inch that's going to wrap up here. So I'll take my tack and put a little tack there.
How's everyone this morning?
And that looks pretty good. So I'm just going to squeegee this, and I can unsqueegee that. I can release that from there. If I see any adhesive disturbances or silvering or anything like that. But so far we're looking pretty good. So I'm going to tack this down here. Sometimes it needs a little bit of a pull to get these fingers out, so I'll give it a little tug down this way, just enough to get it right to the edge, and we'll make sure that we've got exactly the same distance here as here. And that looks pretty good. So I'm gonna go ahead and, woo, got a lot of pressure this morning. And I'm lining this right up to that edge there. All right. Make sure we don't have any debris in here. Just saw a little piece. Now we can focus on this here, making sure this is all lined up. We've got good coverage all the way through here, and see how that kind of popped? I wasn't paying attention to that, and so that's popped up, but nonetheless it went down. And here you don't want to sit there and just pump fluid in here, because you run the risk of knocking something loose. So I'm just gently pushing my tack solution up in there. And if you have a towel handy, you can use your towel to help absorb some of that moisture and keep it from running back and opening up the film. Run this down this way, like so. And I've already encountered a problem here. I have a piece of debris right here that I'll have to fish out. Get my trusty tool here. I have this right here. It's a modified little tool. It's chrome or polished, and it It used to have a pointy end and I bent it and filed it down and polished it. So let's see if we got that debris out of there. Nope. Maybe it's a flaw in the bumper, I don't know. But it looks like it has some brownish color to it. You can lick your finger sometimes, the saliva seems to do a pretty good job. And I'm taking my fingernail and rubbing it on the top of that. Just to make sure that it's not a paint flaw. All right, it was a piece of debris. We fished it out. And you want to do your due diligence and check for moisture pockets and everything. They want to hide on these ridges sometimes, and I can feel one there. I'm going to try to pull it along that ridge up to here, which I was successful at. Now, oh, I guess I wasn't. Some of it's right there. So we'll take and pull this down. And I'm just scanning and checking. And another little moisture pocket right there. So we're looking good all through here. We'll reattach this little corner here and take care of these little fingers right here, or some people call them carrots. I call them fingers. Now we can focus on this area, and this area is a real easy area to take care of. As long as you've gotten the rest of this correct, you're not going to have much in the way of manipulation or problems with these areas here. You just add a little more slip there, kind of run your hand, use like a hand squeegee, and just see how this is going to go. Kind of pre-forming it, that all looks good. It's a really good fitting pattern. People sometimes complain about Eastman patterns, but they've dumped in the last 12 months, from what I'm told, $10 million into their design and software. They're going to have a new software that'll be out. It's probably been delayed due to the whole COVID-19 fiasco, but the patterns are still getting produced. They have a ton of pattern designers. And that wraps in there real nice. So the way that wrapped in there, we've got good protection on that for the customer. And this is gonna want to wrap around this corner somewhat. So we've got good protection for the customer there. And you can probably just wait a little bit if you want to put a little heat on something like that. It's just got a little sliver that doesn't want to lay down, but there's not a lot of tension there. There's just probably a lot of moisture wicking back out. So we'll hit this, and that's stuck on there pretty good. And I'm going to spray my film and knot the car. And this is going to require just a little bit of a stretch, and I'm going to butt it up to this area right here. And what this is doing is this is kind of helping the film to wrap around that. Just I'm pulling and I'm looking here as I'm pulling to see what's going on. I'm going to pull and tack it to here. So I'll put a little tack there, and I'm going to get it close. I don't have to get it perfect right now, because I can release it after I get the rest of this down and get it better aligned. There we go. And I'm just holding it for a bit. Just want to make sure that it's going to stick there. We can even take and squeegee that down a little bit. And I want to take and pull that down here. Get that to stick. And then these are just little fingers here that we'll lay down with no problem whatsoever. And that's right to the very edge down here. In fact, it's so close, it's sucking moisture off of this plastic piece. And you can take, my towel's a little wet, but you can take your towel and wrap it around your squeegee and kind of suck up some of that moisture there. And I'll let that dry a little bit, but I'm going to come through here and give this a tug this way. And I'm kind of pulling and twisting it. It needs more pull up here than down here, but I still need a little pull. So I'm taking and I'm rotating. I'm pulling with the palm of my hand here, pulling it this way, but I'm also taking my fingers and I'm rotating it. So I get a good pull, good even pull through here. And you want, when you're doing that, you want to watch it. You don't want to just do it and hope for the best. You want to do a couple of test runs with your slip there and make sure that it's going exactly where you want it to, which it's doing for me right now. And I'm even using my thumb to get a little extra stretch out of that. And then grab your squeegee. I just lost mine. Oh, it's in my towel. But there's something here, and it's something I didn't see when I was cleaning this. So is it a piece of debris? Probably. Something might have fallen out of there. Nope, it's definitely a paint flaw. So we'll come back, I'll release this, put a little moisture in there, a little slip. And I'm going to add a little more tack back up here on that edge, because that's where I want it to hold. Get that down, hold it with my thumb for a minute, get it to lock, and that's good. Put a little slip on there for the squeegee. And you saw those fingers right here that were starting to pop up, and I'm feeding those up in this direction here, up this way, up into that. Got good coverage there. That all looks good. We release all this film here. And see if we can get this to install. All right, again, just like the other side, we're gonna line this up right here. Make sure this is all in check here. And you don't want to pull it from here like so. You want to kind of pull it and get this relaxed like this. And I'm kind of twisting my film a little bit to get that down, and that looks pretty good. So I'm gonna take and put a little tack back in here. Get that down. Squeegee this a bit. Get that to set. And we're still loose over here, so I'm going to squeegee this down through here and get this to set up and lock down. Now I can focus on this up here and getting this down and locked in. Now, before I go any further, because this is sitting here open, and I don't know if you can see this or not. Let me pull the camera down here. All right, I want to lock this down so we can get this lined up here, and I'm going to spray my film. I'm not going to spray the actual bumper. Spraying my film, I don't want to send a bunch of unnecessary moisture up into the crevice here, sending debris down into my pattern. Get this lined up. Needs just to come up just a touch here. There we go. There we go. That looks good. So now I'm going to lock this down. This needs to come up just a touch here too. And I'm squeegeeing up. I'm going to lightly mist this, just a mist. I'm going to lock it just from this ridge up. Pushing that all up in there, pushing any debris that might be floating back up in there. And now I can leave this open here if I want. I can come back and lock it down, but the reason why I locked this down up here is to keep any more debris or any debris from flowing down into here. And if I am squeegeeing this down and I find debris here, instead of coming through the top, I can come through the bottom and flush it out, and it's all going to want to drop out on me in this direction here. Put a little slip solution back behind this again. And I want to try to get this tacked before I go any further. There we go. Feed that up into there. Got a little bit of a hiccup right here. There we go. Now we're good. down. Just go back and so we can get this little edge down here. We could let this sit. It's going to be so low on the car that if it were to dry out and leave a slight little spot there, nobody is ever going to see it unless you're laying on the ground looking up at it. But that's it. The only other piece we have to put on is this, and that's pretty simple and straightforward. Everything else went great. Got a couple fingers back here. Some people call them carrots. I call them fingers. And that is a 2020 Mustang front bumper.